Welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. My name is Melissa Kay. I am the lead strategist at Tap the Potential, and I am here with Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, founder of Tap the Potential, and TEDx speaker. We are so thrilled to have you here, and today we're going to talk about how to shift your mindset from surviving to thriving.
That's such a good topic, Melissa.
It really is. Okay, so Dr. Sabrina, as we dig in, I just want to share with you guys the three areas that we're going to discuss today. And one is how to identify and break free from the survival mode, how to cultivate a supportive work-life integration, and then actionable steps to help you thrive. So Dr. Sabrina, first off, let's start the discussion with identifying and breaking free from that survival mode. So how do you recognize the signs of that survival mindset?
Okay, this was so eye-opening in our VIP days. When a lot of times as business owners, when we are in survival mode, we are hopping from one crisis to another in our business. And that becomes our way of surviving. And one of the challenges of being in survival mode is that we are constantly making decisions and we're not really thinking about, well, what is it that we're trying to create? So creating that vision and we want to make decisions that align and move us closer to the vision. But really what ends up happening in survival mode is we're trying to survive, and that triggers fear-based thinking and decision making. And so we end up making all kinds of decisions on a daily basis out of fear in our business. And there is a very big difference between making a decision out of love or out of fear. And when we make fear-based decisions, we are trying to avoid things happening. And what we focus on grows. So if we focus on, I'm trying to avoid running out of money in the business, and I'm trying to avoid problems with customers, and I'm trying to avoid this or that, you get more of what you're saying you don't want. So we want to really shift our thinking and identify, well, what do we want? What do we want to create? And when I'm making decisions out of love, what kind of decision am I making? So a very powerful question as you're faced with whatever decision is in front of you right now, just stop and ask yourself, am I making this decision out of love or out of fear? And then Melissa, just to top this off with us coming out of our Ascension group with our clients who are at our highest level in the program, they are taking 4-week vacations, they're getting their business where it can run without them. One of the discussion points was just paying attention to the language that we're using when we speak, because we can speak out of fear-based language. So battle plan, like a lot of business owners say, I've got my battle plan and I'm ready to go and, onto attack, and that's fear-based language. And so we want to be thoughtful of, okay, if I'm shifting my mindset, what language would I be using? And what would I be saying differently? And so our clients were brainstorming around this. And so some ideas that were thrown out were like trailblazer, I'm blazing a trail, or I'm clearing a path, and creating a great place to work for our team members, and creating a place where players feel like they are taken care of. Even going a little deeper with this, we talked about how we're trying to create safe, supported environments for our team members. And we also need to create that safe, supported environment in our own mind, because we cannot create a safe, supported environment for team if our mindset is fear-based. So what does it look like when you feel safe and supported? And what language are you using? What decisions are you making? Because at that point, you're in a place where you can make decisions out of love.
Yes. So I want to address the fear. But first, what we see so often with entrepreneurs is we all set these big, hairy, audacious goals annually or quarterly. And then we get caught up into the day-to-day and the weeds of our business. What happens when they come to coaching is their goals have changed. And in some cases, they don't even remember what their goals were. And that goes back into that fear-based thinking. You know, you always need to redirect your attention to your vision, what you know is to be true, and go back to the original goals that you've set for yourself and stick to those instead of constantly putting your focus on the things that you don't want to grow, right? And you feel like the fire hose is just coming at you, but just remaining fully focused on what the overarching goal is. So with that said, Dr. Sabrina, when we're going through challenges in our personal lives and in our businesses, how do we react out of love instead of fear when we feel like that fire hose is just pointed at us?
Yeah, so this is hard because it requires us catching our mindset. We have to catch ourselves in action when we're reacting out of fear. And it's survival, so it's hardwired into us. So those of you who are familiar with the choice map from Dr. Marilee Adams' book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life, the choice map is a great tool to use to help catch yourself in the fear-based thinking, because fear-based thinking sends us down the judger path, and we start asking questions. It's our non-conscious questions of, whose fault is it? You know, why am I so stupid? Why are they so stupid? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? And all of that kind of thinking lands us in the judger pit. And it's all fear-based questioning if you pay attention to those questions. And one of the things that I love to do in Leadership Bootcamp and Coach Approach is when I teach the choice map, I love to have our business leaders and their team members close their eyes and just listen to those questions and pay attention to how you feel in your body as you're hearing those questions. And a lot of times people will say, well, my stomach clenches up, or my shoulders get tight, my throat gets tight. All of those are signs of fear. So the first thing that I think you can do is start paying attention to what are your thoughts, and catch yourself if you're hearing those judger questions. A lot of times taking some deep breaths and breathing in, and then taking a longer time to breathe out. So breathe in, and like if you're breathing in, and you did this exercise with us, I think, Melissa, in VIP days. What's the count that we should use? Do you remember?
You breathe in for 6, hold your breath for 7, and then breathe out for 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the 6, 7, 8 rule.
So when you do that for one breath, you can immediately feel the effect. But if you do it for 2 or 3 breaths, it has an even more powerful effect. And then think about changing your questions. And this is where the choice map is a really good tool, because it has learner questions on it. So what am I thinking and feeling and wanting? What is the other person thinking, feeling, and wanting? What's possible? What ideas do I have? How do we create a win-win situation here? So those are all powerful questions that move us out of fear and move us into creating. Love is creating. Love also is an acronym for letting others voluntarily evolve. So that means, oh my gosh, we have to have grace and be patient with other people, which is really hard for us entrepreneurs, because impatience is fear-based.
Yes.
When we get to like, I've got to hurry up, we got to make this happen, that's all because we're running from something, not to something.
Yes. And when we are in a fear-based mindset, we make a lot of assumptions. And then we react based on those assumptions, and so much stress builds up in our body because all of these assumptions are just rolling around rather than us really getting acting in love and being able to address the situation with a learner mindset. And that's the power of the choice map.
You know, another discussion that we had in our Ascension group just around this very topic was how much our minds are constantly going and just racing from one thought to the next. So that keeps our body in this amped up place, which where our physical symptoms go, our minds go. So if we are feeling stressed and amped up, we are going to have fear-based thinking, and it becomes this self-perpetuating cycle. And so this is where meditation can be so powerful for us entrepreneurs and for our team members too. This is something that we can be teaching team members. And the goal with meditation is not to get your brain to shut off, because it hardly ever does. It is to create more space, longer spaces between the thoughts, and to catch yourself going from one thought to the next. And instead of getting caught up in the thoughts, to observe that. And so observing it kind of looks like, oh, there my mind goes again. I'm on to 5 different topics in my head. And so you start to create that awareness, and then you redirect and keep redirecting back to the present moment in time.
Yes. And another thing that is so important, because as you said, what we focus on grows, is to continually focus on our wins and successes. And as entrepreneurs, we're high achievers. We're beating ourselves up all the time for the things we haven't done. So focusing on our wins is really important, and celebrating gratitude. And this can help us stay in that mindset of love. And one of our clients shared, oh, well, I have ADHD, so I forget where I put my journal. Put it everywhere. Have one on your desk. Have an app on your phone. Keep something constantly around you, and continuously jot down anytime you have that moment of gratitude. And it goes beyond just the gratitude. It's really catching yourself doing things you're proud of. So last week, our team did an exercise during our quarterly team meeting on our 5 love languages in the workplace. And I was shocked because it stumped me. And that's not something that I would have expected to have really caused me, a lot of confusion around, but it did. And knowing what fuels me and gives me energy and lights me up in the workplace is really important. And I discovered, for me, it was words of affirmation, not Dr. Sabrina saying, hey, Melissa, you're doing a great job, but hearing from our clients saying, wow, you helped me in this situation. And this meant so much, because then I know I'm doing my job and I'm acting in service of others. So when you receive those moments where your love language is being recognized, write those things down and record them. And when you're having a bad day and you get stuck in that cycle of fear-based thinking, go back and look at it.
Yes. Yeah. There's such an important reminder. I think everyone who's listened to the podcast knows I'm going through a very difficult time in my life right now. And a lot of fear-based, that's just normal in the grief process, but especially for widows, like fear-based thinking is triggered all over the place. So a week or so ago, I started in my journal a list of wins and successes and good things and blessings that have happened. And it's a long list. It surprised me when I started just adding to it. And then what it did for my mind is it got me aware and looking for those things. So now when they happen, I'm like, oh, there's another one. And I go run and add it to my list. And the list is growing. And so it helps me stay in that love and grace and positive mindset versus fear and gloom and doom. And it's hard and all that nasty stuff where I don't want to go on my head. The other thing that we talked about in our group is the power of journaling. And a lot of entrepreneurs say, I don't like, I can't keep up with my journal. I start it, I stop, I don't do it. You can just journal for 5 minutes and then go back and read what you've written and ask yourself, is this fear-based thinking, or am I making choices and decisions out of love? And just see. And you might be really surprised what you see on paper. If you see love and you see that your mind is focused on opportunity, that's great. But if it's not, if it's a lot of, I want to avoid this and I'm going to do this to prevent that and blah, 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 that's fear. And so then you have an opportunity to think about, well, how do I switch my thinking? And that's where, again, that choice map can be so helpful.
Yeah. And if you're in a really dark place, and there's so much powerful in writing it down and then reading it again. But if you're going through something that's really challenging and you don't want to put it out there, one practice that I do sometimes during my morning pages as I'm journaling is I chicken scratch, and it's not even eligible. You can't read it. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes one of our clients shared a quote. It was actually a powerful takeaway, and now it has become a quote that we've adapted. And we were so blessed with this beautiful quote that actually her team member had custom painting drawn around it and put this quote into a frame for us. But Janet shares, "Stop borrowing anxiety from the future and focus on what I'm doing right now."
Mic drop. Like, that is, she just said it all. That's the whole entrepreneur's dilemma.
It is. So we've just shared some really great self-care tips when you are feeling like you're just in that survival mode, and some ways to unlock that, get out of it, and begin to thrive. And your self-care time is the most important time for you to protect every single day. So we talk a lot about the importance of time blocking and having intentional schedules. And the very most important time that you can protect is taking care of yourself, because you cannot take care of your family, your team members, until you take care of yourself first. So set that boundary and protect it. And as we wrap up, Dr. Sabrina, I would just love to hear your tips. You're the expert on the 25-hour work week. And you know how to really dial in that schedule and what is the most important things that have to be on that schedule. And one thing is your self-care.
Yes.
Tell our listeners how to protect that self-care time block every day and still run a business efficiently and effectively.
It's super simple. The self-care comes first. Like, that's non-negotiable. And in my TEDx talk, I speak on this, that I invest in myself first each day. And it's ironic to me that we successful people embrace the value of investing in ourselves, especially when we all come together around learning and growth opportunities. So, tuning into the podcast, you're investing in yourself because you want to learn and grow. So we do those things. But when it comes to our own self-care, we put others, we'll say things like, well, I just have to get through this crunch time, and then I'll make time to eat healthier, exercise, make time for friends. So we put others' needs ahead of our own, and we run on empty, and we snap at the people we love. We put off connecting deeply with our loved ones because we feel like, well, there's work to be done. And so when we're doing that, we're setting ourselves up for regret. We're also setting ourselves up for burnout. Mm-hmm. And so you are your greatest investment every day. You can do wonderful things when you are fully charged. So your self-care is your highest value $10,000 an hour activity first in the day before you do anything work related. Because whatever comes after your $10,000 an hour investment in yourself is going to be $10,000 an hour time in the business and in your personal life. So set yourself up to really maximize the value of that time just by investing first in yourself.
Absolutely. I would love to see the day come where businesses are running intentionally with the mindset work supports life, to the extent that there's a time block every day for team members, for business owners to have intentional time for self-care. And we have that at Tap the Potential.
Yes.
So in our vision, we have the vision for the company, and then it's broken down into each person's role. And one thing that I am accountable for is taking time to think. I literally have a time block that says thinking time. Yeah. And it's time for professional development, time to read. Those things are so important, and I could not perform my role to the level that I do, the way that I bring it, if I was not taking that time to take care of myself. So this is the most important thing you can do.
That's when we are investing in ourselves, that's how we show up and add value in our businesses and on our teams. And you bring tremendous value, Melissa, and it comes through